What's going on, folks? We are home. Hopefully, everyone is having a wonderful day. Um, it is probably not as hot as where most other people are, but it is hot here today. It's like almost 87. Meanwhile, we've been sitting in like high 60s, so it is hot. Mo, what's going on? Super J, thank you all for being here. Wow, we have a ton of people. Whoever's here, whatever you want to do, put it in the chat. We're talking. Snake Bam Thwip, what's up? We are chatting the assembled I was going to say episode today. I just finished watching it like 10 minutes ago. And then whatever else the heck we want to talk about in regards to Marvel Reader. What's going on, man? So glad you can come in. I know you're not going to be here for long, but thank you. That's right, Mo. You're in Florida. That's what I've heard from some other people. It's been mild in Florida so far. But hopefully everyone's doing well. But yeah, and then after we're done talking about the assembled episode, we will chat about whatever the heck we want to talk about. I do have to be gone by 2:00 because work stuff. Hence why this is earlier than normal. But what did everyone think of the assembled episode? It was really kind of like Marvel Reader said this. A lot of people have said this is really an ode to the animated series more than anything else. I agree, Mo. Very light on the creative process for 97. Very light on that. And I was thinking we were going to obviously see more of that. I think that's what we were all thinking, right? But lots of love and really an ode to the animated series. So, yep, that's pretty much what everyone is saying. One person in particular seems to be missing from this entire documentary of Assembled. I think we all know that that's Bo. Again, clearly Marvel is one, either like covering up for or like giving him some grace, saving him, and just I'm assuming at some point we'll learn maybe of what's going on. DMV comic book nerds, what's going on? So glad you can make it. I was just talking about your post, Marvel Reader's post. Basically, again, this was all about basically Bo not existing, and that's obviously has to do with a lot of stuff. But he did, at least Bo had said that he, this was a team effort. Of course it was, right? It just all wasn't him. Obviously, he had a lot of stuff to do with it, but it wasn't just him. So there's lots of people to thank. I just really loved one. I think the biggest thing for me that made this like the most successful as it was is that everyone was so invested in their roles as voice actors, as animators, as people writing the story. And you could see that was the same case from the animated series. Like it's like Larry Houston is really probably the main driving force behind all of this, right? Like he's the one who influenced everyone who worked on this show. And he was a comic book nerd, right? But he wasn't the writer. But everyone, even in this, was like, this is who this is. This is this storyline. This is, these are the things that you guys need to think about when writing. Yeah. Right, Marvel Reader. It's very clear that everyone cared about getting it right. And I think that's why it did so well, right? Like everyone cared about doing it right and doing it well. And I think that's why it succeeded so well, right? Like that's why. Dude, Larry, again, I think he's the driving force behind almost all of this, is he not? Like he had to have been, right? And then to bring him back as a consult for sure, right? Like it's amazing that he did that. So I'm glad that they did that. I'm glad they brought back some of the other writers from before as well in terms of, again, as consultants. I just think in general, you could tell that everyone wanted to get it right. And that's why it was done so well. I love seeing Yeah, I don't know. I missed what Chase Conley's part actually was. If someone wants to write that in the chat, when he was on, I missed his like what his title was. But again, you could tell episode director. Okay. Um, but you could tell again, like just everyone cared. Everyone cared about it. It was amazing. Yeah, Emmy. Even Brad Winderbaum, right? Like you could tell that he was just like us. Like wanted to watch the show when we got home from school or on Saturday morning, and you didn't want to miss it. And that was the thing. Yeah, Jake, he was the other cameo with Bo when they when they cameoed themselves in episode 5, right? That had to be Jake Castorina, if I'm saying that right, along with Bo. He was. Aviara was dripped out in X-Swag. He really was. I don't know much about him. I know, Mo, you posted something about him not too long ago. And Marvel Reader commented and added some more context to that too. Of him kind of being great to help where we got, but also at the same time not. So that was interesting. I didn't know. I had no clue about him at all. But yeah, Winterbomb is definitely going to be one to be watching in terms of like what may be coming down the stream. Totally agree. Seeing the voice actors was amazing. It's so like to me, man, watching Ross Marquand turn on Charles like that, you just don't see. To me, I did not see him making generating that voice. Storm was amazing. Was that Allison Seeley Smith? Is that right? I believe. But you could tell, like she even said, like not knowing more of her background of being like in Shakespeare, it makes so much more sense of how she has portrayed whatchamacallit, Storm. Yeah, that's the thing that I didn't know in general about Avi Arad Mo, but like him being an enabler of Ike Perlmutter is just gross. The other person that I really enjoyed, I'm a little upset that they didn't end up showing like I think Holly Cho for Jubilee, and they didn't show Guy Augustini, for Sunspot. I really thought that they were going to be in there. Obviously, most of the love was given to the voice actors from the animated series who have returned, right? And then some of the bigger names. Yeah, they did skip over most of the new cast, which was, excuse me, kind of unfortunate. But oh my gosh, that right there, Marvel Reader, AJ Locasio nerding out, and then just like seeing him turn it on, right? Like, obviously doesn't have a Southern Bayou French accent, and it just like turns it on was incredible. That's a good point. DMV. If Arad is a pariah, it's odd that he is featured and DeMaio isn't. Yeah, dude, I would highly check out Vigilante Vibes. Some of their like extra episodes that they've done with some of the voice actors from this season is great. They did Isaac Robinson Smith. That was an amazing interview, and again, you could just tell his love for the character. And he's actually gone on to do some more voice acting stuff in Disney for not like animation, but like at actual parks to be T'Challa, Black Panther. And you could just tell he loves the importance that holds. Like I think he was basically speaking, like he was able to speak one of Chadwick Boseman's lines. The As you can see, I've not yielded, and obviously we kind of basically know that was like huge for what was going on with Chadwick at the time. And Isaac didn't take that lightly, basically. The other one, Guy Augustini, he's just like, he didn't know much about Sunspot, even though basically because they didn't really get too many comics in Brazil. But he's just like super excited to have the role and be a part of this. And it was just fun to hear him talk. They might have some other ones. I'm not sure. I haven't listened to probably all of them, but those are two that I listened to, and they're definitely worth listening to just to like get more insight, especially that we didn't hear from them at all in this assembled episode. But yeah, I was a little upset that they didn't do too much in terms of the creative process for this season, or the even just leaving out some of the voice actors. Like, we didn't really get to talk to Magneto, the guy who played Magneto, all that much. Yeah, we didn't hear JP Karliak for Morph. Again, we didn't hear from Jubilee, Sunspot. We didn't even hear the guy who voiced Bastion. As we're going back, Marvel Reader, Arid is a pariah with the fans, not the company. And then DMV, that just makes me question even more, is the company in the wrong, or is DeMaio in the wrong? Yeah, I mean, it was good. I really feel like it's just an ode to the animated series, Mo, more than anything else, more than this season. We'll say that. They obviously talk about the importance of carrying over the legacy of the animated series and making sure that it, kind of did as well as it would. And that was really the most of it, right? But there really wasn't much about this. Very different than, obviously, we didn't have other like watching other assembled episodes of different things, like Miss Marvel. Like, we didn't have a previous Miss Marvel, so there really wasn't that to go off of. Whereas this, there was, but I don't think it needed to be the whole assembled thing, right? Yeah, I agree, Mo. I love the creative process and listening to creators and storytellers walk us through how they made something. This really didn't do that at all. All I know is when they end up having to do this, which they better for season 2, they're not going to be able to hide through giving an ode to the animated series again. Yeah, as in the chat, as we've been going back about Bo, totally, right? Like, it's weird that I still agree. Like, it's weird that both sides are being silent about it. And yeah, NDAs were probably signed. And Mo, Disney NDAs probably come with sniper coverage. You're probably not wrong. Yeah, anything making of. I've always loved that too. Like, I think about not that it's real. I mean, we all do this, but like holding celebrities or athletes in kind of higher regard, right? Just because we always want to like see what's going on. But like, as a sports fan, I'm always interested in, like, as you know, I kind of am into fitness and like that, but I'm always into like the process of what some of these like high level athletes or celebrities do to get where they are, right? Like, to me, that's what I really like. Um, like, anything that I can learn about, say, like Kobe Bryant and what he was doing to be the best that he could be, to me is like crazy. And now we get some of that, more of that insight with social media and even more of these things. Just, they know that we love this. And yeah, I really wish we got more of this process for this season. Yeah. I wonder if, they obviously probably, I would assume, interviewed Bo during most of this, but then they just cut it all out. And some of that was probably about the process. Yeah, with season 2, they can talk more process because they won't have to write around Bo. Totally. Yeah. was not enough behind the scenes, but it was agreed a nice retrospective and celebration. Ray Chase stepping in as Cyclops without knowing anything about him. Yeah, he did really good. It's kind of surprising to hear that some of these voice actors didn't really know much about it. I mean, it is surprising, but isn't because some of them still looked. They were like they. I didn't grow up with this, but they looked around most of our ages. So I was like, you didn't grow up with this? I mean, again, they may not have had it or wherever they were, right? I like how they acknowledge the anime influence. Yeah, totally. And you could see that throughout. I loved it. Again, I have no experience with anime, but you could tell from the little that I've known and seen through other things, you could really see some of that anime influence, which I think was awesome. It was also fun to see just like all of the like actual stuff that they do as they're doing some of these lines, right? Like kind of get into character, make movements with their hands. Not that I didn't think that, but I haven't seen too many behind the scenes voice acting stuff. And so it was fun to see. It was just like, again, too crazy that like Lenore, they like tried so hard to find someone and she's not really feeling it. And they came in again. She's like, oh, well, I'm not going to go this round. And then she finally did it. And they were like, oh, you know what? You're the person. That's good. Yeah, doing his Ray Chase doing his homework about Norm Spencer and then honoring him with that. I think he did great, you know. Mo giving more love to Studio Mir about doing My Adventures with Superman. What is that on again, Mo? I think you said Max. Is that right? HBO Max or no? Watching Storm, Max and Adult Swim. Okay, that's good to know. Thanks. Thank you. I'll have to check it out. Or if you're Cartoon Network, if you're weird that still has cable. I mean, it's basically moving back to cable with all of this bundling now. It's just like, what is happening? It was cool to see that Snake Pamphlet. The 2D, 3D elements were cool. Just like learn about and track. Yeah, I think that was cool. I like that they honored kind of like the time of being in 97, right? But also honor, maybe doing some stuff to um, maybe doing some stuff to kind of make it look in the 90s, but then also kind of be a little bit more updated where they really did a lot of stuff still in 2D, but then did stuff in 3D as they needed to. I really like that. But yeah, seeing the VAs do their lines was great. Like Storm is so great. Um, even like oh my gosh, Cal Dodd doing Wolverine, just like acting like he's getting his claws out was great, and I think that's awesome. I just love that they all love their roles so much. All I got to say too is like George Buza, who plays Beast. He is exactly him. Like he is Beast. Like that is him as a person. She does know those lines by heart. Yeah. She was like saying like some of my favorite lines are like, "You're more nervous than a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs." uh, I love the ending. Oh my gosh, when they had them all singing the tune to the theme song. I was just laughing the whole time. I was like, "Oh my gosh." Mr. Anti-Idiotic, welcome to the live stream. I really want Kitty Pryde to be Tom Holland's Spidey's new girlfriend. That would be interesting. I believe the soundtrack is supposed to come out Friday. I think someone said that last time. Mo, just kidding. I know they're real actors. It's also kind of crazy, like when they were talking about doing the original animated series. Obviously, a lot of them had other roles at the same time, but it's like it's so funny how they just did, um, like would come in and do their lines on lunch or one specific day of the week when they weren't working their other job. And it's also so weird, like how they didn't know who or like how well the show is doing, right? Which makes sense though. Like I feel like you probably wouldn't um, at the time. But when Lenore was like, we didn't know how big the show was until like 3 years ago when they started doing some of the Comic Cons. That was crazy. Yeah, the fan mail part that was crazy, right? Like going in, they're like all of these mailbox things, bins, which were stacked in like in an entire hallway, are all for X Men. I don't know what Jennifer Hale has also done, Marvel Reader, but she was great as Jean Grey Madeline. Chris Potter does look like Cable a little bit. I don't think I ever watched that kung fu show. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that about Jennifer Hale. But she did a great job as Jean. Everyone really did a great job. Again, I really wish that they showed more of the newer cast. Ross Marquand, again, looking at him and like as he's doing his lines, I'm like, how is that voice coming out of you? You don't really how. The other thing that was really crazy to me was they only did one quick snippet of Chris Britton doing Sinister, and I was like, well, they probably do. Um, they probably add a little bit of an effect to his voice a little bit to make it kind of sound the way that it does. But then again, they did a quick snippet of him doing some lines, and I was like, I don't think they do very much, if anything at all, because he sounds exactly like he normally does. Yeah, I know Ross did Red Skull. He's done a lot of Marvel stuff. I feel like he's done one more role. I forget what it is. Yes, Ultron. There it is. Okay. I'm gonna have to check that out, Marvel Reader, of like him on YouTube doing impressions, because that's definitely worth watching. Oh, Jennifer Hale might have been in Spider-Man as well. Someone might be able to look that up. I just did a quick search. She might have been Black Cat, maybe, in something. Yeah, definitely a sideways compliment, acknowledging that the original show did a pretty good job with not a lot of money. Yeah, definitely. I feel like a lot of people, and I'm going to steal this from Wednesday Pool on some of the stuff that they talk about on their podcast. But when he's like, I feel like a lot of people feel like X-Men 97 or X-Men the animated series was or is as good as 97 is. When obviously you look back and you're like, oh man, that does sometimes is, I mean, it was a great show, but like definitely not to this, not as, I feel like not as good as this one. But they did do a great job with not a lot of money. It's also crazy that a lot of them was um like the writers left. They were doing something else and they were like, we need you to come back again. I might have missed that they said that they canceled it, but I did see that a lot of them left because, they needed to work. And they weren't anticipating necessarily a second season. X-Men 97 is to X-Men the animated series as Spider-Man 2 is to Spider-Man. Totally true. No. You're not wrong, Mo, right? Like this would never obviously have happened if the original didn't exist and didn't do as well as it did. I agree. Like going back and rewatching DMV, right? Like, yeah, it's from the early '90s. Like, yeah, it's not great, but like, it just reminds me of everything that was the '90s, especially early '90s. Marvel, the music budget for '97 is probably more than the entire budget of the original series. That is probably true. That is very true. I think that something in season 5 left off much differently. Like the animation is way different than it was. I don't know all the background behind that, but yeah. I do think that they did a good job though of explaining a lot of stuff, whereas um, you really didn't need to watch the animated series. If you did watch, right, there's a lot of like extra bonus parts for you to enjoy during this, even as like a comic book fan. But you didn't necessarily have to watch the animated series to watch this, which is always good. Yeah, I agree with you, Marvel Reader, right? The animation of the original series is the only weak link. And I think like I mean we have to remember we're going back to the early 90s, right? Like it wasn't great back then. And it's hard to not compare to now and what we have seen. It's virtually impossible to not compare it to. It would be. If they did it just like this, a remake of the original series would be amazing, Mo. Yeah, totally. Just the animation, it would be incredible. The OG show was pretty Canadian. Really? I didn't know most of those voice actors were Canadian. Um, until they had mentioned it. But yeah, overall, I mean, an amazing season, right? And I think moving forward, it'll be interesting to see what we get. But I mean, they have to know how well that this show has done, that we got to be getting some more Marvel animated series beyond X-Men at this point. I feel like there's no other way to not at this point. I am currently watching through X-Men Evolution. I think I'm through half of the first season, about half or half. It's been pretty good. It's definitely interesting. That's way 2000s. That is if you want to get in your 2000s feel, X-Men Evolution is where it's at. That is funny, right? DMV comic book nerds. Like, I did not expect Lenore to be Canadian at all, even with her ability to do like a really good Southern accent. But man, the fact that she's not even remotely close from the South is impressive. Yeah, Jim Lee is a great artist, and it was fun to hear that they kind of used him as a guiding light for the animation and the animated series, and just the stuff that they did to attempt and like get those like blackout lines, those colors. Um, yeah, I agree. Stink Bamthwip. Like Spidey seems the most natural choice for continuing, and it would make sense. I really think if they did, like kept it street level on Spidey would be ideal. That way you could incorporate Daredevil. Um, but yeah, she said syrup and it was and I was like, no Southerner ever said it that way. Syrup. Yeah. I don't remember. I used to live in North Carolina for a few years and I don't remember. There's just some stuff, but I don't remember what people said in terms of syrup or syrup. I feel like I go in between. I like interchange syrup and syrup. DMV poses the question, do you guys like the Jim Lee costumes the best or do you have other favorites? Hmm, that's a good question. She said it like on a commercial. I don't know. I feel like I haven't spent enough time with the Jim Lee costumes to know. I feel like a lot of people like Wolverine's tan and red suit a lot. Like a lot of people feel like I like the classic yellow and blue. I don't know what it is. I think I like that the most. And I don't know if that's part of Jim Lee in his typical drawing for Wolverine. But I feel like everyone really enjoys the tan and red Wolverine suit versus the yellow and blue. That is something, Mo. Jim Lee's X-Men Summer Special full of pinups was something. Yeah, like I've seen that, and it is crazy. And they're doing like an ode to that on like through different covers of this like From the Ashes series here coming up. Silver Surfer animation would be dope to somehow tie into the MCU, not 97 with Galactus coming and all. they've got to be cooking more 90s revivals. Like I feel like they got to be trolling social to know like how well this is doing. Obviously, we're getting kind of like what you were mentioning before, like it was hard to get numbers and track all of that stuff back in the day, but now it's obviously way easier to do all of that. They got to know how big this has been, right? Um, so it would be interesting to see what's next. I think I forget who said it up above. I think it was Nick Bamflip. Um, like Spidey seems the most logical thing to be next. Would make the most sense. However, we are also going to get. However, I don't think it'll really tie in um, the Wakanda series. I forget the full name of it. Mr. Anti-Idiotic. My MCU X-Men fan cast, the guy who played Nightwing as Cyclops. I don't know who played Nightwing, but as Cyclops. Kiki Palmer as. My guess is Rogue, because that's been talked about. Jason Isaacs as Magneto. Rowan Blanchard as Kitty Pryde. Christian Bale or Ewan McGregor as Professor X. I can see Ewan McGregor as a Professor X. '97 finale had 3.5 million views. And that's also probably just like the most up to date numbers. Like, think about all the people who haven't watched this yet, mainly because they were like, I'm just going to wait for all episodes to be out, right? I think X-Men 97 is going to bring Spider-Man heavy in season 3. And I think that would be helpful if they ended up making like a separate Spider-Man series, then they could even tie in or have crossovers and it would make the most sense. I agree though, Mo. Like, right? Like the problem with animation is the turnaround time. 2 years per season isn't good. It's really not. Like it's not great, especially right, especially if you're only producing 10 episodes per season. Like that's hard. DMV Comic Book Nerds, Marvel Studios head of TV, Brad Winderbaum, teases a big guest appearance for X-Men 97 Season 3. There's one on the table for Season 3 that pays off something from the original animated series in such a massive way that I think it's going to make people really excited. Yeah. And I agree with Mo. I do think casting for live action X-Men is going to be tough. And they seem right. Leslie something, who wrote something Hunger Games movie, is the writer for the X-Men movie, whatever that's going to be. I also wonder what the timeline is like for this live action X-Men movie / what the plan is. Like, are they going to just say we're in a separate universe? I think the biggest thing is like they're already crossing X-Men in the MCU, right? So like, are they going to kind of take the same route as Fantastic Four, where they're going to make this in quote unquote a separate universe that's not in the MCU, but like Mo has said before, you're not in the MCU yet until you are, basically. Michael Leslie. Yep, he wrote the recent Hunger Games. So I'd be curious to see how and where this all fits in their plans, because there's just a whole bunch of stuff happening, right? The MCU, everything's talking about building up to Secret Wars and then possibly doing a soft reboot once that happens. So I'm just curious to know like where they're thinking of doing the X-Men at. And I feel like timeline, I mean, I guess you can really put it in anywhere, but to me, it seems like at this point, we're probably not looking at until like 27 would be my guess, right? Like 2027? What, maybe? I don't even know. Yeah. There's probably going to be a ton of news at San Diego Comic-Con this year, which is the same weekend, I believe. I'm almost positive it's the same weekend as when Deadpool and Wolverine premieres. So there's just going to be a lot of stuff happening. Marvel Reader, enjoy your daughter's assembly. Last day of school. Thanks for coming. See you on Threads. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for Apocalypse. I don't know much about him from the comics. Sidebar, in an effort to like keep some of this going, these live streams at some point, I think at some point I want to do potential storylines for season 2 of X-Men 97, like a little comic book club. We can do like Apocalypse, Origin of Apocalypse. And that's really all. I don't know what else yet, but like, well, the Oksani Sun, there's that storyline. We could read these things and just talk about it, kind of get prepared before. If you're into that, let me know. Let's see. Yeah, there are a lot of unanswered questions with live action X-Men. I don't have any high expectations. Not that I don't think it's going to be good. I feel like Marvel has a ton of stuff going on right now, and it's just, I don't know where they're going to put it in at. I'm still surprised that Ironheart is happening. Not that I don't want it to. I want to see that, but I'm surprised that they didn't scrap it. I'm glad that they didn't. Yeah, for once, how much or little will Deadpool play into it? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I want him. It almost seems like Ryan Reynolds is like making this the end of his Deadpool. However, he's like everywhere at all times. So it's like I feel like, he could show up. Yeah. Well, there you go, Mo. If I just read your next comment, I would have saved myself some time talking. Yeah, I feel like he'll just show up in things. I'm excited for Agatha all along. I really don't know what to expect. I don't know much about this series. Like I watched WandaVision. I understand the basis of Agatha, but I'm curious to know. I don't know what the premise is. Like, is this occurring right after? How much further in the future? Because I think Wanda's boys, Billy and someone else, I forget right now, are older in this. Yeah. I'm excited for it. I love I don't know her name right now. Catherine Newton, right? No, not Catherine Newton. Catherine something. Someone can help me out. I love her as an actress, and she did her role in WandaVision. Catherine Hahn, thank you, Mo. Her role in WandaVision was absolutely great. I loved it. I think she does a great job. Let's go up here. Super J, I'm more excited for Ironheart than I am for Agatha series. That's fair. Fair to feel that way. I'm excited for anything. I'll say it again. I'll say it every time. I'm a Marvel stan, so it doesn't matter. I'm with it. I'm with everything. Like Mo said in his post the other day, I'm through all this thick and thin, man. It doesn't matter to me. Let's get it. Like I was there for Secret Invasion, and I was like, oh man, this is not great. But it did have its strong points. I believe he is, Mo, to go back to your point about Billy with Wiccan. I believe he is a mutant, but I'm not 100% positive on that. I'm not sure if it is a different director on Agatha all along. It might be because I think the director on I think the director who did WandaVision is doing Fantastic Four, so he might be preoccupied. And then yes, Mo, I did see the dog pile of no one wants Agatha. Yeah, I agree. Like, go off in a corner and speak for yourself. Like, if you don't want it, that's fine. If you're not interested in it, that's fine. But like, don't act like you're speaking for everyone and saying like, "Who asked for this?" But like, I'm there, like Mo said, I'm there for everything. Like, let's go. Bring it on. Whatever it is, I'm gonna watch it. Secret Invasion, DP, I don't know who you are. Thank you for being here. But yes, Secret Invasion had so much potential. That's probably my least favorite Marvel thing I've ever watched. It is not good. There is a lot of good stuff in it, but it is not great. I'll have to check that out, DMV. Because like Secret Invasion, I was like pumped as they were like showing stuff, kind of like that Cold War aspect. Yeah, the first half was good. Honestly, I want to see more. I don't know. I forget her name from the show. I don't know who she is as an actress. Um, but the British lady, I just want to see more of her in something. Not Fury's wife. Yeah, Olivia Colman, right? Like, I want to see her in something else. She was great to watch. They did do Maria Hill dirty. Like, that's a damn shame that they got rid of her. And a little bit that I know from comics is like she basically takes over Shield from Fury, and then they just go ahead and kill her off. What the hell is that? That's some bullshit. Yeah. And then they had Daenerys, right? And then they just turned her into like an amalgamation character, and you're just like, what? Yeah, there it is, Mo. That's what we could see. We could see Olivia Colman in that Excalibur. Totally. That would be great. She looked like Rogue at the end. I just don't like why did they do that? Why? Yeah. She even had Captain Marvel's powers. I mean, you're not wrong. But man, why? Why did they do that? And now in technically she's like the people are can argue that she's the strongest hero villain out there in the entire MCU, right? With her amalgamation of uh, DNA and traits, right? Like, yeah. If they did Excalibur, I know very little about it. I've only read some in Krakoa. Some of it is like way beyond me, probably from stuff that I just don't understand. But it does cover everything, Mo. Right? Like magic, mutants, sci-fi, spies. Pretty much does all the stuff, and I think it would be cool. It is very British. Patchy Sky. She's the Shang Tsung of the MCU. uh, that's who we need more of too. Shang-Chi, man. That was such a good movie. So underrated. So underrated. Yeah. I think Emilia Clarke did great, but they ruined Gaia. Agreed. They ruined her as a character. And it just like I don't like why again, I don't understand why they made those choices. And even the villain, I forget his name, the guy from Barbie. um like that was just also I don't know, so confusing. Yeah. You're not wrong, Mo. Guys, literally what the Chuds claim Brie Larson's Captain Marvel is. Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah, I think Emilia Clarke is amazing. And knowing that she was going to be like a character in a show and like probably moving forward in the MCU. And now I'm like, I don't know if I want her to, I want Amelia Clark to move on in the MCU. I don't know if I want her character now to move forward. That too, yes. They did Ben Mendelsohn dirty. Yeah. They had so many great people. They had so many great people, and they just were like, "We're gonna blow this whole thing up." Yeah, I was surprised that they killed him too. Talos, like, what? But I'm right there with you, Mel. Like, I'm getting angry just thinking about it. Yeah. Like, it's so dumb. Literally the worst thing. All right, let's move on. We can't be negative. We're not those other creators that all they do is talk about negative stuff. Um Totally different from the comics. That's what I've heard. And I didn't read any of that from the comics. And I don't think we can have this conversation all day of like, does it need to be exactly adapted? I don't think it does, and I don't think it should be. I think it should be different. Um, but from my understanding, it was not good. Not good. I'm excited about Cap 4. Cap 4 should be fun. Um, but yeah. How much modern X Men storylines do y'all think will get folded into the MCU? That's a good question. And should they skip all the older stuff? I don't think so, right? Like, I feel like, well, I almost want to say that they should do like Claremont is like pinnacle X-Men. Obviously, there's other bits, but like a lot of it's being covered right now in 97. So, what does that leave them with? Not that they can't redo some of it or add it in. Did they mess up Life Death or was it good? I agree. Let's talk about that. That's probably the my least favorite part about um this whole X-Men 97 series. And don't get me wrong, this is like a 10 out of 10. But splitting the episode of Motendo and Life Death Part 1 seemed questionable. I feel like I would like it better if there was like 2 or 3 more minutes to give the life death story some more room to breathe because it moved real fast, real fast. And then Life Death Part 2, I can't recall everything now, but it wasn't all Storm in that episode. So I'm like, why? It should have been more. It should have been more. Yeah, there it was, right? It was Professor X reintro. I'll have to check out your thread, Snake Bamthwip, about it. I can see why they wanted to be a two-parter, right? To work it narratively, like Mo said, but it's after reading the comics, both of those, um, it was interesting that that's how they did it, right? And I mean, they moved through a lot of stuff quickly, but I feel like they could have given it just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Because I don't even remember. They did kind of close up the adversary, but it was also just like a weird intro to the adversary. And then that was it. Right? Like they closed it off, but it was like, all right, this is done. But in the comics, there's way more to it. And then same thing with like Forge, who, if you didn't know, was like has some magical powers. And all of a sudden he has them in the show, and you're like, what is happening right now? I do like that parallel, DMV. I didn't think about that. I agree though. Storm needed more spotlight. Motendo being such a small story made its coupling with Life Death Part 1 weird. Totally. I didn't mind the Motendo. For me, I think just like Mojo is just like I love the allegory for Mojo. It's just I feel like Mojo is the same thing every time. And it's just kind of it's just like overdone in my opinion. But yeah, Storm needed more spotlight, especially with her life death story because it was just like too quick. It was too quick. We'll just say that. Too quick. Yeah. I do like that it did foreshadow Jubilee becoming more formidable. And just like going off of that point, I think that it was great how they gave every character their spotlight at some point in this season. Um, and they really didn't play up Wolverine. Not that I dislike Wolverine, but from everything that I've seen, right? Like going back to the animated series, just all the stuff, it's always about Wolverine. It's like, come on. There's more to the X-Men than just Wolverine. And he's kind of annoying at times. It did have uh two, right? Like Snick Bamthwip, episode 6 had the burden of bridging, remember it, and Bright Eyes. Yep, you're not wrong there either, Mo. Like, Motendo could have been more substantial if part of the story was about Roberto and his conflicted feelings about being a mutant and coming out. That's all I can sing in my head now, DMV. Yeah, love Logan, but it was nice to see Rogue get some love. It was. I think everyone got their part to shine at some point, right? Some more than others. Yeah, I'm right there. I haven't even consumed that much X-Men content, but like Wolverine's always at the forefront. And again, it's like I get it, but he's kind of annoying at times. And it's just like, dude, calm down. I know you got your animal urges, but it's okay. Yeah, totally. Yeah, like Wolverine's cool, right? He has the ultimate plot loop basically, but he's not the center of the X-Men universe. The thing that's crazy for me is like I love I made a video not too long ago, well, a little bit ago of like um talking about where all the haters are for Wolverine and Deadpool because people, complain about having to do homework for the Marvels, quote unquote, but they're not complaining about having to do homework for Deadpool and Wolverine. Meanwhile, they have a bunch of, X-Men movies to watch and Deadpool. And everyone's like, "Oh, it's because Deadpool and Wolverine are the greatest of all time." And I go, "You only know Deadpool from the movies." Peace out, Patchy Skies. Thanks for being here. I want Colossus next season. I'm surprised Colossus didn't show. Well, he had a cameo for a hot second through Morph. Kitty and Mystique got to show up. Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't get Kitty at all. I'm really surprised we didn't get Mystique at all. Like, kind of crazy that we didn't get either of them. I am ready for the new X-Men. I feel like it's I get it, there's a classic X-Men team, and I love it, and it's totally fine to revisit it, right? Like, comics and comic timelines are way different, all that stuff. But, like, I agree, like, let's bring in a new team or a new X-Men, whatever the heck you wanna call them, New Mutants, I don't care, right? I would love to see more Magic. She's a crazy dope character. Shadowcat, yeah, like all these folks, right? Like let's bring some stuff forward here. And I do think we will see that in the second season. Like um the present timeline will definitely be the people that were on Forge's board. And yeah, to go back to what y'all have said, Magneto, he really was the best. He had some serious lines and speeches that were amazing. They did his character so well. Also, the voice actor who played him, he does a really good job playing Magneto. Because again, looking at him and hearing his voice, I'm like, you're not Magneto. They really were like that. They were like, y'all ain't thirsty enough for Eric Lensher. Let's fix that. Oh my gosh. I still think about our Magneto Speedo talk. And so someone talking about Ian McKellen not doing enough for his role as Magneto. I You are not wrong, Mo. San Diego Comic Con cosplay is going to be crazy. Oh my gosh, that is going to be wild. I would not be surprised if we just see people with like an inhibitor collar on and in Speedo. Like, there's no way that that's not going to happen. There's no way that that is not going to happen. Oh my gosh. Like, that is definitely going to happen. It's going to be absurd. I really hope they do more with Morph. I know we've said this before. I've said it before. But I hope they do more with Morph next season. Like, he definitely they deserve to be utilized more, and just shown better. Like, I like how they utilize him as like utilize them as 4 cameos of other characters, but they need to be utilized more than just cameos. Oh, Mo. Also true, right? Don't know why I'm just making that connection right now, by the way. But you're not wrong, right? Who would be brave enough to do the Magneto Speedo, but as Jesus carrying the cross? That that would be a lot. That seems just like a lot of work for cosplay. Not gonna lie. He did get a lot of shine, DMV, but just as cameos for the most part. I feel like they need to do a little bit more with Morph in the next season, wherever he may be, or wherever they may be. But I would just like to see them more as an actual character doing their thing, not yeah. He was there, but not in many parts of the story. Right. Yeah. Yeah. His whole story was, dealing with Sinister, and yeah, we need a new storyline for him. And I feel like they could just write whatever they want, because he does have some, or they do have some, you know, comic storylines, but not much. I do like the plot thread, right, between them and Logan. Yeah, we got to give them credit for being explicitly queer on the show. Totally, like that's no doubt that that was there, and obviously confirmed by Bo that when he turned into Jean, basically expressing his love for Logan. No. I agree, Mo. I don't think they'll go that way, but yeah, I don't want that either. Could you imagine though if they did do something, how pissed people would be? The internet would explode with Wolverine being bi. They would explode. All of those terrible channels would just, oh my gosh, it would be mayhem. Be mayhem online. Morph did have a lot of funny lines and scenes though. Right, DMV. Like that whole exchange between him and Gambit when they came out of the danger room and were like, um, oh, looks like Rogue and Magneto have it all booked out. Wow, they're really working. They're really working hard together. That was cold. Oh, and then kind of getting their revenge against Sinister was great. I still think Morph is just as good, if not a better Hulk than Hulk. He did that was an amazing little fight scene slash team up with Jean. I really need to see more Bishop too. Like we need Snake Bam Flip. Thank you. We'll see you on Threads. Appreciate you coming on and chatting. Thank you. I really need to see more Bishop next season. I think we will, but kind of a little upset that we didn't see him all that much this season. Yeah, like we need more Bishop. Yeah, he really was. But seeing him though in the first few episodes, he was great. I saw a thread about him that made me go, "Damn, he was a sellout though." He lost a baby and came back all late. That's actually funny. But his first few episodes, right? It's just like so good. He is this weird pro cop, anti mutant mutant. He is. It is weird. I would love for them to like. I don't know much about him from the comics, but I would love for them to explore more of like his origins and then like why the way he is that he is, right? Yeah. He did come around quickly to joining the X-Men. You're not wrong. Isn't it interesting when the pick me says the wrong thing and gets turned, they suddenly remember they're a minority. Real Candace Owens energy. uh, yeah, that's for sure. I think I saw somewhere someone's like Forge is not going to be very. It's going to end up turning into like a villain essentially. I don't know how true or not that is, or like how, but I feel like it was interesting that he didn't really know. Yeah, I need Forge on his hero arc. He needs to redeem himself. Forge was a sellout, that's for sure, right? Anything to get some money. I mean, he clearly didn't learn his lesson as he was like making another neutralizer, and Storm stopped that shit real quick. If he's alive today, he creates generative AI. He's the guy who still used Scarlett Johansson's voice for whatever it is, OpenAI or ChatGPT, even though she said not to. He's the one that said, "Yeah, let's do it." He's the one telling Tony Stark that uh, Ultron sounds like a great idea. Are you all reading any comics this week? That's a great question. I feel like I'm reading absolutely anything and everything right now, mainly for one, my own pleasure, DMV, of like just staying up to date with things, but also trying to like make some videos. So I'm trying to read some like Wolverine, Deadpool issues where they kind of have some team ups slash fight each other. So doing some research. So that's probably more consuming, but I did pick up. What did I get? Where is it? Mo, have you read any of the X-Men 97s on Marvel Unlimited? The first two were on there. I don't know if you've read any. But I picked this up today, and this is on the pull list. Ultimate Black Panther #4. No, it's all good. Trying to find some time. I'm right there with you, man. As much as I'd love to read some tonight, I am probably, my daughter was up for like an hour last night, and then I couldn't fall asleep for like another hour. So I'm probably going to pass out very promptly tonight. Ultimate Black Panther, I would check it out, Mo. That's also, I think the first two are on Marvel Unlimited. Yeah, I really like it. I want to say right now, my favorite of like the Ultimate line, this new line, is Ultimate X-Men, only because it's the most intriguing. I feel like Ultimate Spider-Man was up there, but after last issue, I feel like it's starting to take a turn for the slow here. And I'm like, what is happening? Come on, Hickman. This is really good, though. This is moving quickly. I like it. I'm really curious to figure out what's going to happen here with Shuri. Yeah, it's good. I like Ultimate Black Panther. I can see that too, right, Mo? Like, let some issues build up. That's fair. But right now, that's the most that I'm reading. That I've got some random Deadpool and Wolverine issues that I want to read, like I said, and then I've gone back and have been like reading Fantastic Four like from the beginning. Is there only one Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur book, Mo? Because I do want to read it. What did you think of Doom last night, DMV? It's called Wreck and Roll. Okay, I'll look for it on Unlimited. What did you think of Doom? I feel like there's a huge divide from people right now. I enjoyed it. I'm a Doom fan. So like for me it was good. But there are a lot of people who are like, "What? What was this all about?" It was epic. It was the art. Sanford Green, holy shit. Absolutely incredible. And not a single like standard panel in the whole thing. And it's so good. Colored so well. Amazing. I thought it was great. And I like how I mean, I would love to see more. Thanks, Mo. I appreciate that. I honestly think that's probably my best comic book review that I've done. Like, I'm trying to change it up. I still like to like pull from Blurred Without Fear. Like, I really like his stuff, but he has so much knowledge that he can like add to his videos where I'm like, I don't know. I don't know that much yet. Um, but like that's who I am like influenced by is by him. He's so good. Ernie. But yeah, it was good. I would love to see more of it, right? But the story ends. It's okay. It's fine. I thought it was really good. The art makes it like takes it to another level. It's kind of like a philosophical issue almost. It really is like an ode to Doom, but like the art, honestly, if the art wasn't that good, I can see it not being that great. But the art is absolutely incredible. So good. There was a tribute to MF Doom, and I did not know. I might have been out of the loop here. I did not know that he died. MF Doom. I had no clue. I had no clue that he had died. And that's just me not paying attention, probably. Did y'all watch that Wolverine fan film? I did not. Where I did not see that. Is that on YouTube, Mo? It's got to be. I would think. Viking Wolverine? No. I haven't even heard of this. What is this Viking Wolverine? Are you reading anything else, DMV, by the way, besides those two? Oops. Logan the Wolf, a Wolverine fan film. 12 minutes. I'm going to have to watch that. I'm keeping up with all the Fall of X books. Okay. It's sad. Sad in like the storyline, or it's like sad that it's just all ending and kind of like the fall of it. Both. Both, maybe. Yeah. I mean, I can only imagine, especially if you've been with it from the beginning, right? I mean, it's been, I don't know, since 99, not 99, geez. 2019, 2020, right? So 4 or 5 years worth of, building and now breaking it down. I did see that, right? X-Men 97, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is awesome. Apparently it dipped down to 99 at one point, but then worked its way back up to 100. 94% audience scores. That's good stuff. That's real good. Hopefully that'll bring in some people who haven't even thought about it, like Marvel fans who are only like MCU-esque. To go ahead and watch it now that they know, because they might have thought like, oh, it's animation, I don't want to watch that, or it's like kids related, because they think that anything animated is kids related. Almost everything that I'm watching right now is animated. But yeah, no pressure on the team for season 2. Oh my gosh, the fact when people are like, don't even do a live action, it's like, come on. Who asked for this live action X-Men stuff? No. They're two separate things. They're two separate things. And we can live with them being separately. It just is what it is. They don't have to be within the same thing. It's just not how it works. Could you imagine if they didn't? Like, how stupid would that be? You'd be dumb to not do a live action. Exactly. The live action will have audience 10 times the size of X-Men 97. Easily. Easily. People are saying right now that freaking Deadpool and Wolverine is about to make $1 billion. Oh, yeah. I mean, more than 10 times. A live action X-Men now is going to go crazy. Absolutely wild. Yeah, DMV. X-Men 97 is so successful. That's why it doesn't make sense that Bo and Disney are happy with parting ways. I don't know if they're happy per se. We haven't heard anything really, right? I would be all for, like an X-Men 97 animated feature. Let's do it, right? Like well, seeing it towards the end, like as the show maybe like dwindling out, maybe. And they're like, well, we don't have enough for a season, so let's just like make a movie and then end it whenever that is, right? Clearly not until at least after season 3. Mm. I wonder if there was a settlement. That's a good point. There's definitely got to be an NDA sign because no one has said a damn thing. And maybe they won't ever say anything. Who knows? Yeah. Again, I think Bo had a lot to say, and we've said this before. Bo had a huge part in this, but he wasn't everything, right? Like there were other people involved in this, and um, it should be fine. It may hopefully they'll be able to carry the torch. Deadpool and Wolverine broke the record for first day ticket sales. I didn't even know that. I have not gotten my ticket, mainly for the sheer fact that I didn't realize that when we booked this, we booked like a little vacation not too far from our house, and we're only gonna. It's that week that Deadpool and Wolverine comes out, and then I we don't get back until Saturday, like afternoon. So I could then maybe Sunday. I live in northern New England, like in Maine. Most of my state is like old. I'm not super worried about my tickets running out or not being able to get a ticket. And even though I'd be late to the game, it is what it is. Like I felt like I can go on like Tuesday after and go at like 11 o'clock in the morning and I should be fine. Totally. They do have, yeah, X-Men 97 has the advantage of decades of stories to draw from. Yeah, there's no doubt. And I feel like that's the same thing with the rest of potentially the Marvel animated universe, right? Like they have so many to draw from. I wonder though if they're going to end up slowing things down compared to what we've seen um, in some of this first season, just like running through a lot of stuff quickly, where maybe they'll have to start slowing stuff down a little bit, like other events. Peace out, DMV. Appreciate you. We'll catch you on Threads. No, no. I mean, like, I wonder if they'll have to start slowing down how fast they run through events, like in the season. Not necessarily like how long it takes to create the season. I just want House of M. That would be good. I mean, you said it. There's so many things they can do, and now with Krakoa ending, I mean, there's a ton of stuff that they could do in that. Gosh. Yeah. Yeah, quick event, but again, repercussions will be long lasting. Agreed. I think that would be good, you know? Well, there's only a couple more people here. I have to wrap up because I have something to do at 2. Big question. There's a lot of stuff floating around of what we can keep doing. Do we wanna rewatch something else? I know Mo's watching Adventures of Superman. Um, I've been watching X-Men Evolu I know at least everyone has Disney Plus. I've been watching X-Men Evolution. Do we wanna go through and watch that and talk about it? And I could post more of this on Threads because there's only a few of us on here, but I'd love to get some input. I think my biggest question is like, how many episodes do we watch and then talk about? That's fair, Mo. That's totally fair. Yeah. I mean, you'll still be able to have input for the stream. I feel like there's not a lot of like in comparison as I'm like thinking and watching about it. I feel like it's very slow in comparison to X-Men 97. So I feel like we could watch a good amount of episodes and talk about them in one stream. Because so far, like I said, I'm only like halfway through the first season, but like it's mainly like introducing characters. Like I just watched the introduction of Quicksilver and Spike. And like one whole episode is like dedicated to the Blob. One whole episode is dedicated to Rogue. Um, one whole episode is dedicated to Nightcrawler, and that's essentially what we're doing. Awesome. I appreciate y'all wanting to come no matter what the topic, even if you're not even going to rewatch the show. You just still, hey, it wouldn't be a rewatch for me, but we could do Moon Girl too. We could talk about both of them in the same stream. We could talk about both of them in the same stream. Let's get real. We could talk about both of them in the same stream. It really is a dope intro song. The last episode I just watched, or I stopped on, is like the one with Beyonder. But the one before that, where I mean, obviously a lot of stuff that I can innately relate to as a white person. But like when and I know this is a big thing though for black folks, was like her hair, especially as a woman, right? Yes, the hair episode right there. Thank you. Oh my gosh, dude, I felt so bad. But then when she was talking to her mom and her grandmother about the mistakes that they made with their hair, so good. Like so good. So wholesome. Moon Girl's right there. They're you are 100%. Moon Girl's right there with all the messages. Yep. Yeah, all the gentrification, like closing out of businesses, small businesses, stuff like that. Yeah. It's it's big. We could talk about both things, Mo. I might just throw it out there. Why the heck not? Let's run through all these animated series. All right, y'all. I'm doing free publicity for Moon Girl. Hey man, I'm all for it. I'm gonna have to check that book out at some point when I get some time to read some stuff. I appreciate y'all for coming on. We will reconvene next week. I'll talk about stuff on Threads, but I'll see y'all next week. Appreciate you being here. I will try and get some sleep. We'll see. I got to cut the lawn, bro. It's just too much stuff to do. It's bad. But thank y'all. I'll see ya. Peace.